Hello and good morning, CTS266 Section 840 students for the Spring 2016 semester at Anne Arundel Community College. This is the Cisco Networking Academy CCNP Switch course, and this morning's video tutorial is going to be on Challenge Activity number 9, where we're going to be taking a look at configuring multi-layer switching or configuring routing in a multi-layer switched environment. As you can see from our setup here, we've got our access layer switch here, the two distribution layer switches. We've got 4 PCs we're going to be working with. We've got this router here and connectivity out to the internet. If we take a look at the scenario, let's see what we're going to be asked to do here. So we've got upgrades occurring. We've got 2 new layer 3 switches that have been purchased. Dwayne wired the switches up and did some initial config, so he wants us to finish it. So the first thing that we're going to do is configure DSW1 and 2 to perform Inter-VLAN routing. DSW1 should be used as the default gateway for PCs that connect to the switch. And so what that's telling us is we're going to be doing an SVI on DSW1 that will be the default gateway. Clients that connect to DSW2 should use DSW2 as the default gateway. So whatever VLANs those PCs sit in, their default gateway is going to be the switched virtual interface on those switches. All right, so let's see. We've got some OSPF work even here. All right, so we're going to be configuring OSPF even between them and then bundle the 2 links between switch and DSW1 into an Ether channel. So it says Ether channel. It doesn't specify whether we have to do PAGP, LACP, or just simply on. So I'm going to do LACP. In fact, let's do this. This is going to be the low-hanging fruit here. So we're going to knock this out first. We're going to bundle the 2 links between switch and distribution switch 1 into an Ether channel. So here are the links that they're talking about. It's 00 and 01 on the switch side, and 11 and 12 on the distribution layer switch side. So let's go ahead and hop on to switch here. And this is probably, this is most definitely going to be a layer 2 trunk. So let's go ahead and knock this out. Let's go into privilege exec and into global config, do show IP interface brief. And so it looks like 00 and 01. Let's double check that. Yeah, 00 and 01. One of them is up, and the other one is administratively down. Let's see what they look like with the config right now. So let's say do show run interface Ethernet 01. So we've got our trunk statement there on 01, but it's shut down. Let's take a look at 00. All right, so it looks like they tried to get a little tricky with us here. One of the interfaces is shut down. One of them is not shut down. So let's go ahead and let's get into our interface range Ethernet 00 to 01, and let's say no shut. So we're going to make sure we bring both interfaces up. I was going to say we should see a line protocol message here from the switch telling us that Ethernet 01 is now up. So now we're kind of on level playing field here. So what we want to do is we're going to put these guys into an Ether channel. So we're going to say let's see, we'll do channel protocol LACP. So we'll lock it in for LACP. We're going to say channel group 1 mode, and we'll go with active, right? So creating port channel interface 1. The mode is active, so we're doing LACP. So we're good there. And yeah, so LACP is not enabled on the remote port. Well, this is interesting. Typically, you don't see something like this on the actual physical switches, but IOU is indicating that it's not on the other switch, and we already know that. So let's go ahead and say end. Let's save our config here. Say show Ether channel summary. It should be show Ether channel summary, and it should be standalone or suspended. There we go. So suspended, and it's a layer 2 Ether channel. We're using LACP, and it's down. So we already know we need to come over here to DSW1, Ethernet 1.1 and 1.2. So now we're on this distribution layer switch. Let's go in from user exec to privilege exec into global config. I'll say do show run interface Ethernet 1.1, and you can see that we look good there. And what about 1.2? So they seem to be set up good. So let's say interface range Ethernet 1.1 and 1.2, And actually, all we need to do here, we'll say no shut. They're both up. Throw a no shut in there just to be sure. And then we're going to say channel protocol, LACP, so we'll lock it in. And then we'll say channel group 1 mode active. All right, so we'll say end write mem. We should see that the port channel interface is going to transition. And there we go, into the up state. So show ether channel summary. And there we go. We've got our layer 2 ether channel. We're up between the two. If I come back over to switch 1 and we take a look here on the switch 1 side and I say show ether channel summary, we've got exactly what we want, right? The ports are bundled and in the port channel. And then you can see right here with the SU, it's a layer 2 port channel and it is in use. And so that's absolutely what we wanted. So that was the easy part there with the scenario, was bundle the 2 links between switch 1 and DSW1 into an ether channel. Now we're going to wait on that OSPF work because first we want to sort this out right here. So Inter-VLAN routing between, or I should just say on, DSW1 and DSW2. So DSW1 should be used as a default gateway for PCs that connect to the switch, and then clients that connect to DSW2 should use DSW2 as a default gateway. All PCs are already correctly configured. So given that information right there, that all the PCs are already correctly configured, what that's telling us is they already have their default gateway set. So all we would need to do here is on, and let's see, we'll start with DSW1 here. So we're going to take care of PC1 and PC2 first. So if I come over here to PC1 and we go from user exec to privilege exec, and let's say show IP interface brief, so we can see that the IP address is 192.168.22.157, and then let's say show IP route, because these are actually, or whoops, we know with the show IP route there. It's not going to give me any information. Default gateway is what we were looking for. But yeah, so these are routers, but they're not. They're kind of using them as PCs here in the virtual sense. So, but what we wanted to get was the default gateway output right there, because what did that just give me? Well, for VLAN 22, I just got the default gateway address. And if this is PC1, then all we need to do now is kind of walk up the chain. So PC1, we know what the default gateway is. Let's see Ethernet 02 on switch. Show VLAN brief here. Show VLAN brief. And Ethernet 02 is VLAN 22. So now all I need to do is now go up to the distribution layer switch, DSW1, and say show run int VLAN 22. Well, it doesn't look like it's actually been configured yet. So this is where we're going to set up our multi-layer switching. Or I'm sorry, multi-layer or Inter-VLAN routing on the multi-layer switch. So let's go into global config. The first thing that we want to do is we want to say IP routing, right? Because this is going to enable Inter-VLAN routing on the switch. I'm going to say VLAN 22. And so we create the VLAN, and then let's say interface VLAN 22 IP address. Now remember, the IP address is going to be our default gateway address, 22.254. So 192.168.22.254, and if I was to say show, oops, sorry, I want to make sure show run int Ethernet 00. And it is a /24. Okay. So we're good there. Because with the 157, and the reason I'm checking that is because with that IP right there, it's possible that this could have been a /25. Because we're using 254 as the default gateway. 157 is my IP, so it's theoretically possible that could have been a 225.225.225.128 /25. But it's not /24, so we're good. And I'm not sure where that show run command came from. So 254, so IP address, and then the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. We're going to say no shut to bring the interface up. Let's throw a description on here and say SVI default gateway for VLAN 22. All right, let's check. let's come over to PC1 here, and let's say ping 192.168.22.254. Can I ping the default gateway? I can. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so now we're going to kind of follow the same philosophy here. Let's come over to PC2. And we'll go from user exec to privilege exec. We'll say show IP route. And there's the default gateway for VLAN 44, right? Same as it was for VLAN 22. If I come over here and say do show VLAN brief, let's see which VLANs do we have configured right now. So 10, 20, 22, and 30, but not 44. If I were to go to the switch and say, and actually it's already right there, right? Show VLAN brief, there it is. VLAN 44 was Ethernet 03. So who's plugged into Ethernet 03? You've got it, PC2. So to the distribution layer switch we go. We're simply going to say VLAN 44. I'll even get a name, give it a name. We'll just say it's marketing, right? And then int VLAN 44, where we're going to put in the default gateway address for this switch virtual interface. So IP address 192.168.44.254, and I'm going to assume here that's going to be a show run int. Let's say show run interface. Was it 01? Show IP interface brief 00. All right, so we'll see 00, and it's a /24. Okay, so we're good there. And I don't know where that show run kind of dragged, ends up coming from the other window. So we'll say no shut. So VLAN 44 is now on. So we've got PC1 and PC2 configured. Let's come back to PC2 and let's see, can I ping 192.168.44.254? Absolutely. Now remember, I turned IP routing on the distribution layer switch. So can I do Inter-VLAN routing? Can I ping 192.168.22.157? And absolutely. So this is Inter-VLAN routing. I'm doing Inter-VLAN routing right now between VLANs 22 and 44 because, again, we've configured that IP routing command on the distribution layer switch. All right. So that was pretty straightforward for distribution layer switch 1. So now let's come over here to distribution layer switch 2, where we've got PC3 and PC4. So first thing we're going to check is if these guys are configured properly. What is my default gateway? It's going to be 77.254. What about PC4? What VLAN would he be working in? Show IP route 11.254. And then let's come over to the distribution layer switch. And let's say show VLAN brief. Do we even have VLANs? We do. And as you can see, those interfaces are in those VLANs and they're active. What if I say show run interface VLAN 11? Show run interface VLAN 10. And it actually doesn't like the use of that 10. And maybe it's not supported as to why we're getting these errors. If I were to say show run, or either, actually, let's go back to the distribution layer switch and say do show run interface VLAN 22. Yeah, so that command is supported. So it is confirmed. That's all I was trying to do, was confirm that those VLANs don't exist. So the SVIs for the VLANs don't exist. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to configure the two switch virtual interfaces between or on DSWO or DSW2. So let's get into global config. First, we want to go ahead and say IP routing, assuming that that is off. So VLAN 77, we'll just say name as HR, and then interface VLAN 77. And we're going to say IP address 192.168.77.254. Whoops, let's get the subnet mask on there. No shut. So now PC3, who's using that as his default gateway, can we ping 192.168.77.254? Can I ping my default gateway? I can. Success. All right, so let's wrap this up with doing the VLAN 11 configuration. So before we do that, let's say VLAN, and they're already on here. I'm just going to throw a name on here. Is going to be engineering, excuse me, interface VLAN 11 IP address 192.168.11.254. Again, that's our default gateway address, and with a subnet mask of /24. We'll say no shut. Let's come over here to PC4, who is in VLAN 11, and say, can we ping 192.168.11.254? All right, fantastic. So that is going to wrap up that portion. So configure DS to perform Inter-VLAN routing. We've got the default gateway set up. The clients that connect are good to go. All right, so now we're down to the OSPF part here. So we're going to configure DSW1 and 2 with OSPF area 0 in such a way that they will exchange routes between each other and R1. So R1 already has IP addressing and routing configured. The links between DSW1 and DSW2 are routed links. So let's check those links out. All right, so it's the switch course, but hey, we've got a little OSPF in here we're going to throw in and see what we've got. So do show IP interface brief, and that has got to be the address that's being used. It's either that or 111. Actually, both of those are routed ports, and I'm assuming that on DSW1 do show IP interface brief. Yeah, okay. So the way it's working is it looks like Ethernet 02 is going up to the router on both of these guys. So their Ethernet 02 on DSW1 and 2 goes up to router 1, and then we have on Ethernet 00 a layer 3 link there. So really, and what was the... Yeah, so in order to start the OSPF process here, we could simply do... we don't have to be too specific. So here's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead, exit out of the interface config and say router OSPF1. Let's say log adjacency changes. Let's set our router ID to 1.1.1.1. And actually, before I do that, let me check router 1 here. Show run, pipe it to section OSPF. And it does not have, and it's given us a default route. Right, it's going to originate a default route. So they're just using a network statement that's pretty wide open here. Again, not a routing course, but they're just using that open statement there. So back here on DSW1, we'll set our router ID to 1.1.1.1, and then let's just go ahead and say network 192.168.0.0. We'll follow their lead here. Just do a /16 to make sure we get everything, and we should see an adjacency come up here. Between DSW1 and router 1. So let's see, are we going to get, we should get something here. There we go, all right. Went from loading to full. So show IP OSPF neighbor, right? There we go, we've got a neighbor relationship in the full state. And let's do the same thing on DSW02. It's going to be very straightforward. So router OSPF1, and then let's log adjacency changes. Let's set the router ID to 2.2.2.2. And then let's throw our network statement in here, 192.168.0.0.0.255. Or actually, that is not right. It's a good thing that was wrong. 255, area 0. So everything in there is going to be area 0. You can see we went from loading to full, and we should do that. Yeah, we did it twice. Okay, good. So if I were to say show IP OSPF neighbors, right, I've got two neighbors. The 209.165, that's router 1. And that's router 1's router ID, right? Because by default, if you don't set the router ID, it's going to grab the high... Well, first it'll grab the... if you've set it, it'll use that setting. If that's not set, it grabs the highest loopback IP. If there's no loopback address configured, it's grabbing the highest IPv4 address off any interface that is up. And again, we set it, so there's my neighbor 1.1.1.1. So we're good there. Let's take a look at, that should be it. Scenario. Exchange routes, configured routing. So yeah, we can confirm the routing information. So let's see what we're getting. We should be getting show IP route OSPF. We should be getting a default, and there it is. OE2, right? Type 5 LSA, because it's being redistributed into area 0. And there are the routes that we have. So we know about the 22, the 44, and the 99. Let's go to validation here and see. Okay, so can I, from PC1, can I trace over to 44.111? So let's go to PC1 and let's say trace. Whoops. And oh, there we go. PC1's back. So we're going to say trace route to 192.168.44.111. And let's see. And remember, PC1 goes into that layer 2 only switch, then across that trunk link into DSW1. And then we're trying to get to 44. Let me pull a job aid up here. Where is that 44? No, we don't have a... yeah, so 44.111 is PC2's IP address. So let's come back to PC1. So can I get to PC2? So I hit my default gateway, but then that is it. All right, so something is not right here. So let's take a look over here. Show IP interface brief. So oh, I'm sorry. We should just be looking at PC2. Show IP interface brief. So PC2 is 44.111. Can we trace the other way? Trace route to 192.168. What was PC1 there? Let's do a Control-Shift-6. All right, so we're going to say show IP interface brief. That was 22.157. So can I trace over to 22.157? And let's see what happens here. So it should go right up into the multi-layer switch DLSW1, and then I should be able to find my way down to the VLAN 22. All right, so there we go. I get to my default gateway at the multi-layer switch. And let me see if they're showing... Yeah, no, we should definitely hit. You've not changed IP addresses or default gateways. We didn't touch anything on the PCs. Yeah, the SVIs look correct. Let me make sure, and they're in the up and up state. So IP routing, we did enable we did enable IP routing. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, well, interesting. So PC2 can trace over there without any issues. I thought it was going to hang on us there. It was taking a little longer than expected. So PC2 can get to PC1, but PC1 couldn't get to PC2. And let me make sure I've got the right IP address here for PC2, because it showed 111, and that's what we've got right there. So it is 192.168.44. Did I mistype something? 192.168.44.111. Let's try it again here. Let's see, 192.168.44.111. So basically I'm trying to go from PC1 to PC2. We were able to ping earlier, and we didn't have any issues, and now it seems like the trace route might be having some problems. And I did 44.11, and it is 44.111, so that is correct. And we should now go right down to 192.168.44.111. Well, that's interesting, because you can see above here, that is the same command, is it not? Okay. Maybe we were waiting for something to settle down there, but okay, good. So we've got the validation. That's good on that part. Let's see. Can we ping PC4 from PC3? Let's give it a try. So I want to ping 11.121. And let's go ping 192.168.11.121. All right, we're good there. We did our show IP route, and we do have those default routes that were being redistributed into OSPF from router 1. We did have all the neighbors there. Our ether channels were up, so everything looks good here. with respect to challenge activity number 9. Again, a minor little blip there. I'm not sure what was going on between PC1 and PC2, but it sorted itself out. Okay, this has been the challenge number 9 tutorial solution set. Hopefully this has helped you guys out, and if you ran into any issues. All right, I will see you all tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.